What is violence? Well, Webster's dictionary tells us that the use of force to injure, abuse, damage, or destroy is violence. Now, with that being said, we go to work, we go to school, we go to the store, we run our errands, and we don't see any type of real violence whatsoever. We may see an argument, we may see a kid throwing a tantrum, but we do not see people getting attacked on site just because they are different than we are. The country we live in today is 70% safer than other countries compared in the rest of the world based off of 2021 statistics. From years of research and personal experience, I want to inform you on just how much you don't realize how safe the United States is. Violence in America is not necessarily as bad as other parts of the world, and I'm here to prove it. And the other issue is people don't understand just how safe they are compared to these other countries. So first, I'm going to discuss the violence in the United States and how it is misconstrued. And second, I'm going to show the real violence from all around the world. So how much violence is there in America? Well, as I said, it's misconstrued. It's easy to see what directly affects you on a day-to-day basis based on how strongly you feel about violence towards a certain group of people. But just imagine walking outside and fearing that doing your day-to-day business could lead to violence. Statistics show us that the United States is ranked lowest in violent crimes per capita compared to almost all other countries in the rest of the world. Now, the US is a large country with many diverse and different cultures. However, a lot of time crime is looked at as affecting different races or different types of people. Violence in a country should not be looked at this way. It should be looked at as a whole. The United States is the only country that picks out the focused violence. When you take a look at violence this way, when it's shown to a certain group of people, it's going to look like there's a lot no matter what angle you approach it. And saying that America has bad violence towards women, for example, and then seeing a country like Saudi Arabia where women can't even drive or defend themselves in court shows you just how misconstrued it can be. Now, if you really cared about violence towards different groups of people, then you would not focus on the niche violence in America. You'd focus on other parts of the world and the larger violent crime committed towards these groups. But don't get me wrong, there is violence in America, and it is an issue. But knowing that the violence is greater in other areas should impact the way you feel about violence towards that group. Now let's take a look at violence from different parts of the world, and you'll understand how it's a greater issue than it is in America. Now, what I'm about to show you is a clip from the Joe Rogan podcast of him talking to North Korean escapee Yami Park. And she's explaining the intricacies of her escaping, and you'll see just how the government there alone is violent towards its people.
Thing is, the tragic thing for North Korea, we cannot even say goodbye to our loved ones. So if we got caught on the journey, and if my father knew that we were escaping, he's gonna be punished so much. So it's better off that he does not know that we are escaping for his own safety, because they're gonna torture you to the point that you're gonna say anything, because they do this all subconscious like torture that they make you not sleep in a single room, has like no air, much air. If you put there for 40 days alone, you go crazy. You say whatever they ask you. So
Now, as talked about in the video, North Korea is a horrible country, and they treat their people there like less than citizens. Now, you're going to sit here and you're going to watch that and listen to this testimony from someone who's risked her life to escape her own country, and then you're going to go around and tell me that America needs to be fixed? I think you need to take a look at the real violence in the world. Now, don't get me wrong, North Korea is one of the worst case scenarios when it comes to violent countries other than America. But some other statistics from some other countries might surprise you. Sweden, for example, has one of the worst rape statistics out of any other country in the world when it comes to one case per 100,000. Sweden's rape statistic is 3 times higher than America. And America has a population that is 30 times greater than Sweden. And remember, these statistics are based off of population. But a lot of other countries do have good and bad sides. South America, for example, has a rich, diverse, and exciting culture. But collectively, if you take the violent homicide rate from all South American countries and compare it to all of the countries in the rest of the world, it's 3 times higher based off that same 1 per 100,000 case statistic. Now, it's unfortunate that I have to explain this, and it's also important to understand how the real world is. For me, it's difficult to focus on the varied situations that happen in America when all these horrendous tragedies are going on and are being allowed to go on in the rest of the world. Another great example is only in the 90s, only about 30 years ago, apartheid ended in South Africa. And for those that don't know what apartheid is, it's a government-applied system of segregation and discrimination based on race. Now, I hope you understand just how lucky you are to live in the United States. To top off this discussion, I want you to remember that first, violence in America does exist, but it's not as bad as you may think. Second, I want you to remember that you are lucky to live in this country because violence in other parts of the world sometimes does not allow its citizens to live a normal life. Violence is something that can happen to you, me, anyone, no matter where you are, no matter what country you live in, no matter who you are. But violence doesn't care about race, religion, or sexual orientation. So next time you think that violence towards certain groups of people in America is going on, just remember what's really happening in the rest of the world. Thank you.